Welcome, friends. I'm Ashley Clarke with Earthkeeper Yoga, and I am here in my home studio in Birmingham, Alabama. And I welcome you to a little bit different of a yoga class. Every once in a while, I really enjoy being able to mix things up. And you'll see a little of that in each of the videos that I offer you. But today, I thought we could do something really simple. And so, whether this is your first yoga class ever, or you've been practicing for quite a while now, it's always good to come into a few moments where the teacher gets to teach. So instead of just teaching you how to move from one posture to the other, I'd like to spend some time today staying in what we call in the yogic tradition, beginner's mind. And so we come to each task, each responsibility, each new thing, and each new day with a beginner's mind, always ready and open to receiving new lessons. So for today, I'd like to focus on postures and breath, broken up, not all put together, not nice and flowy, but really checking in on the postures. So it's a great class to come to. Again, if you've never practiced before, I'm going to teach you some really great tools to make sure that you can get into alignment in your body. I'll encourage and hopefully inspire you along the way. But if you've been practicing for a while, this is a great class just to come to and appreciate the simplicity of celebrating a posture. So for today's class, I am going to invite you to have a couple of blocks and a blanket or beach towel or small pillow. That's just going to be really great for the knees. If you are so new that you don't even know what a yoga block is, I'll take a moment and explain that for you. But I think that it's just a great opportunity for us just to sit, spend some time together, stay present, stay mindful, stay in our bodies and see how things feel, and then move through any challenge. All right, so grab what you need and I'll meet you right here on the mat. All right, friends, as we get started today, I am going to invite you to come to a seat with that blanket, beach towel, small pillow. And I'm going to be doing a lot of things from a side profile because posture is really important in our yoga practice. So I'm going to show you how to come into an easy seat. And if your legs don't look like mine, that's fine. But what I want you to notice, what I invite you to notice, no matter what's going on with the lower half of your body, right here at the tailbone, if you'll just take that tailbone and let it kind of come right off the edge of whatever your seat is, it helps send the hips forward, which then helps align them with your spine. Again, don't worry about anything that's going on with my legs. You do whatever you need to do so you feel comfortable. I'm just going to rest my hands in my lap. And so now that I send my tailbone right off the front of this blanket, and I have this nice tall spine, it invites an opportunity for the breath to move more fully through my body. And yoga is just about as much about the breath as it is about any posture that we do with our bodies. So it's the linking of those two things that really makes yoga so special. So what I'm going to invite you to do is to find your easy seat. And you can keep your eyes open. Normally I would invite you to have your eyes closed or have a soft gaze towards the floor, but I want you to just kind of watch and look and see what happens as I bring my body into a space where I can really let that breath flow. And then I'm going to reach the crown of my head up towards the sky. So then the rest of my booty, I'm just going to make sure that I'm pressing it down in the mat. So the crown reaches away, the spine elongates, and then my tailbone presses into my mat, which is going to let that low back arch kind of come in just a little bit. You could feel it through the core muscles. And it just invites this sense of really wanting to take a nice big deep inhale and sigh it out. So give yourself that. I invite you to notice the position of my chin. It's in line with my shoulders, so the head's not raised. Another thing that I've been guilty of and that can happen in this posture is that we start to lean forward just a little bit. It may feel more comfortable in your body as you begin, but just really letting your tailbone press into the floor and that will help you keep that long spine. So give yourself just a moment here. Go ahead and close your eyes or have a soft gaze towards the floor. Give yourself a couple of really nice, big, deep breaths. You can send those in through the nose. Sigh it out through the mouth. You can do that again. Inhale deep. Sigh it out. Just allow yourself to come back to regular breath. Noticing any tension that may show up in the shoulders or the neck. How as the breath and the body begin to soften, there's a tendency to let the spine roll back, the shoulders hunch forward. So really just pressing that tailbone into the mat, reaching the crown of the head towards the sky, keeping that link through the spine. Another thing that can happen here is there can be some tension in the thighs and all the way down to the soles of the feet, really. Definitely some tension through the hips. So just see where you can release, soften the low body, and breathe. Notice the breath beginning to fill up the belly and the heart. The ribs expand. The shoulders start to make their way up closer towards the sky, and then everything just kind of sinks and recedes back down. And the parasympathetic nervous system begins to tell you that you are safe right here, right now. Feel that mat beneath you, just allowing you to feel completely supported here. And we'll give it one more breath. Beautiful. After you release that last exhale, go ahead and let the eyes flutter back open. I'll turn towards you for this next bit. So the next part is, as I mentioned, we really are concerned and want to be aware of our breath when we do a yoga practice. So one type of breath that is really used more commonly than any other kind just throughout a yoga practice is called Ujjayi breath. And Ujjayi breath sounds a lot like what we just did when we took a breath in through the nose and sighed it out through the mouth, but it can be deeper. It can go deeper into every fiber of your being. So I'm going to show you, just so you can see my not my profile, but straight on, I'm going to show you that breath again, let you hear it, inhaling deep. And exhale, sighing it out. And do that one more time. Notice the constriction that happens in the back of your throat when you let that breath go out through your mouth. Inhale deep. Exhale, let it go. Let the breath go all the way out. You feel like the belly is just pressing down lower and lower towards your hips, towards your pelvis when that belly completely releases. So this next time, what I'm going to invite you to do is take that inhale through the nose, keep the lips soft and just together, just slightly together, and then let that breath, that constriction in the back of your throat, let that sound still happen as the breath comes out. It sounds like this. Try it with me. Inhale deep. Let's do it again. Inhale. And take a moment to let the gaze soften or the eyes close. Let the breath return to its normal in and out. Notice any stress or tension in your body. Allow yourself to soften where you can. Take an inhale and slowly let the eyes flutter back open. So hopefully you can tell a difference in your physical body now that we've moved through and connected to our breath. So now let's use that breath and include just a little bit of simple movement. So finding that long spine, reaching the crown of the head up towards the sky, noticing the curve that happens in the low back, and then tucking that tailbone in ever so slightly. We're going to take an inhale, gaze straight ahead, and then exhale, look up. Inhale, come back forward. Exhale, look up. And shoulders release down. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, look up. Inhale, come all the way where the chin comes down towards the chest. Feels great in the back of the neck. And then exhale, look up. See if you can keep a soft gaze or even close the eyes. Inhale, chin to chest. Exhale, look up. Inhale, chin to chest. Exhale, look up. And bring the gaze back forward. So what you noticed, hopefully, as we moved through that breath and that movement with the head, the breath was guiding the movement. So as the head came down, the breath filled more, right? Started to take up more space. The heart started to come forward. And then as you exhale the breath out and the chest lowers, there's a stretch through the neck. But there's a pause at the top and the bottom of each inhale and exhale, where the breath reaches that moment where the posture ends, and then the new cycle begins. So exhaling back up. Come back to stillness in the center. All right, now all we're going to do is inhale forward and then exhale over to one side. And then we'll inhale all the way to the other side and exhale back and forth. Okay? Inhale right here. Exhale, look over to your right. Soft gaze, feeling that stretch. Inhale all the way over to the left. Goodness in the neck, being released. Exhale over to the right. Keep that tall spine. Inhale over to the left. Exhale over to the right. Inhale over to the left. Breath through the nose. Exhale over to the right. Then allow yourself to come back to center. There's just this most subtle of opening happening right here in the heart and in the neck and the shoulders. It's very liberating. Maybe do some arm circles. Reach the shoulders up towards the ears and then let those shoulder blades kiss behind you. Hands can stay relaxed in the lap, although they're going to move just a little bit. Connect this to breath. Inhale, shoulders come up. Exhale, release down. Moving with your breath. Inhale, rising up, finding the pause. And exhale, releasing fully. Fresh breath. Notice if you're leaning forward, really reach that crown of the head up. And after that last exhale, bring yourself back into stillness. Beautiful. All right, one of the next things that we're going to do is we're going to move into a table in just a moment, and I'll explain everything about that. But that means that we're going to be putting some pressure on our wrists. So if you will, just bring your hands out straight, but keep some softness in the elbows. We're not really trying to push anything away. It's nice and soft through the elbows. And then we're going to turn the palms where they're facing away from you, fingertips up towards the sky. Check the posture, so press the tailbone in, reach the crown of the head up. And let's just start to move from here. Inhale, reach the palms up. And then exhale, turn those palms in towards the forearm, inside of the forearm. Let them come all the way down. Inhale, fingertips up, reach towards the sky. And then exhale, bring the hands down. Let's do that 2 more times. Inhale, reach up. And exhale, come on down. Last one. Inhale up. Exhale, bring it in. Beautiful. Release the hands, shake out the arms, and just shake the wrists. See what's there. Keep everything nice and loose. Give yourself a deep breath in through the nose, sigh it out through the mouth. All right. So this is where that blanket or beach towel or pillow can come in handy. Mine's just a little bit too fat, so I'm going to unfold it just a little bit. And then I'm going to come and bring my knees to that blanket. So for a table, we're going to make sure that the wrist is right under the shoulder. And then if you'll notice, I'll turn towards you. When I do that, I'm going to have my fingers spread nice and wide. And then we call this the eye of the elbow. So you're going to press in so that the eyes of the elbow come forward. Now, if your body does not look like mine, that's fine. What we want is to have some softness in the joints of the elbows, but really let the front of them shine forward. If it doesn't work in your body, again, that's fine. All right, so we've got those eyes of the elbows shining forward, and then we're going to bring some awareness to the low body. So right now, I'm pressing a lot of weight into the floor through my knees, but I really want to press my knees into the floor. And if you'll notice what that does, when I press the knees in, and it helps my spine elongate and align, so I have a flat back. I reach the crown of my head away. There's some space in the back of the neck, and it keeps that low curve out of the low back. Mine could look a little pronounced right now because my mic pack's right there. But then, if you will, just tuck that tailbone in just a little bit. So here is our table position. I could serve tea off my back, or someone else could. All right, so we're going to move through something called cat and cow. So the first thing is cow. So take that inhale through the nose. We're going to keep all that breath in and out through the nose, so that ujjayi breath that we just practiced. And we're going to take an inhale and reach the crown and the tailbone up, so the belly sinks down towards your mat. There's a stretch through the throat. There's a stretch through the belly and through the low back. So there's your inhale. And then as you exhale, you're going to round the back. The belly button comes up like it's trying to reach towards the sky. And you really round the back. The shoulder blades come apart. Press the pelvis forward and keep the head nice and relaxed. The chin will naturally come in towards the chest. Let's move from here just like that. Inhale up. Exhale, round everything in. Shoulder blades come apart. You look like a scaredy cat. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, round in. Continuing with your breath. Inhale, rise up. Breath leads. There's that pause at the top. Nice big stretch everywhere. Exhale, round it in. Pause at the bottom of the breath. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, round in. Do that one more time. Inhale, rise up. And exhale, round it in. And see if you can come back to that long spine, neutral table. So reach the crown out of the way, or forward rather, and then find that length through the back of the neck. Notice the tailbone, notice the curve of the low spine, and notice how hard you're pressing your hands and knees into the mat. So there's some engagement here. All right, take an inhale, and then just let your hips sit back towards your heels. So there are a couple of versions of this next one. Let me show it to you while you're sitting back just a little bit. So this is called child's pose, and it's a resting pose that's available to you anytime during a practice. You could show up for a class and decide, I'm just not feeling what she's offering or what he's offering right now. I just really want to rest. This mat is a place of no judgment, and you can come here and be however you need to be. So child's pose is a resting pose in between postures sometimes, cued by your teacher, but it's also always available to you. So child's pose is just rolling the belly over the thighs and letting the head come down to the floor. The arms can extend long. You can get a stretch through the forearms and the shoulders, a stretch through the back. And there's that little pinch in the hips. And so sometimes that is uncomfortable, and it can be a lot of strain on the low back. Or you've got a body that would really like some extra space. Mine would like some extra space. So how I do that for myself is, instead of just sinking the hips back and rolling down, before I do, I bring my knees to the outside edges of my mat. And then as I sink the hips back, my belly can come in between my legs. It changes where the stress and the stretch show up, but I can release more fully my heart down towards the floor. Now, yoga block. Say your head doesn't come to the floor. This beautiful little creation can be used to let your forehead rest, creating more space for the body. So whatever feels most comfortable, and you can move back and forth and change and explore what's here for you. See what it is that feels best for you, separate from what I'm doing. Let everything go. Breathe here 2 more breaths. All right. So to come out of child's pose, you take an inhale and then start to press into those shins to bring yourself back up to a table. And then if you've brought the knees wide, you just reset the knees right under the hips. Okay, so I'm going to sit back for just a moment. If you want to sit back, you can. I want to tell you a little bit more about a yoga block. I've also heard them called bricks. So I think it's wherever you're watching from, really. So this creation is so great for a few different reasons. And you can think about it in the same way that you think about a cup of coffee. So you could get a small, a medium, or a tall. And so this block has that. This is considered a 3-inch block. They also make a 4-inch block, so you can get them in all different sizes. And then they make them out of foam, and they also make them out of wood. I think there's positives and negatives to both, but what I have readily available is a foam block. So this is great. If you don't have a blanket, you could always sit up on the block. In fact, I'll show you. So I'll move this one out of the way. And so if you didn't have a blanket, but you had a block, and you want to come into an easy seat, you can just let your tailbone come onto the block and get that same posture where the tailbone kind of presses into the floor, but I sit the bony part of my booty at the front, right at the very tip on this side, and then I get more length through the spine. So that's one thing that it'll do. But back to the coffee scenario analogy. So this is what we call the small. So the small coffee. And then this is the medium coffee. This is the tall coffee. And so as we move through a few postures today, just a few, I don't want to keep it nice and simple. This block can come in really handy for those reasons. So always on the head. If you lay on your side, you can put it under a temple, just to give you a little bit more of alignment with your neck. And I suggest you have 2 blocks. And that will become easier to explain as we move through some postures. All right, so I'm actually going to skip over down dog, which when you hear people talk about down dog, that's the one that they always want to teach you. But I'd like to teach you a few others, and then maybe another time I'll teach you about down dog. So what we're going to do is we're going to come back to our table, and then in any way that feels okay to you, just step a leg through, okay? And then maybe curl your toes so that you can come up to stand. All right? And before we move through anything else, we need to warm up the low body. So let's just start with the feet, where the inside edges of the feet are touching. Inside of the legs touch, wherever they naturally do. But you want to have the feet together. And so then just bring your hands down to the right at the top of your knees. And see if you can squeeze the knees together just a little bit. I'm going to turn to the side. And I'm going to reach my crown away right here, top of my head away, creating that space in the back of my neck. And I'm just going to start to spin, making little circles, spiraling with the knees. So we're just trying to get some synovial fluid into the knees. And if you hear pops, that's just gas escaping. Circling the knees both directions. We're also getting some synovial fluid moving through the joints in our ankles. This is great if you stand on your feet all day. It's great before you go for a walk or a run. All right, circle yourself back into stillness and then slowly start to come to rise up. And then let the feet come apart just a little bit. You can bring the hands to the hips. So in yoga, no matter what we do, we don't want a locked knee. So I'll show you a locked knee. I think you probably know what it is, but I'm going to show you just so that I know that I did. So locked knees means to really send them back. So now everything is locked. It's not good for your body. So we keep just a little bit of looseness in there. So maybe just shake them forward and back just a little bit. Just getting some awareness of your knees. All right, so let's come back where I can show you this. So you're going to bring your hands to your hips. You've got that softness in the knees. Reach the crown of your head up towards the sky. And then think about that tailbone. Is it curling back? Tuck it in just a little bit. Hands on the hips. Circle the hips. So if you had a hula hoop, that's basically what you're doing, but it's the slowest tolerating hula hoop ever in the history of the world. So we're just going really slow here, getting into the hips, stretching a little bit through the back of the legs. See if you can connect that to the breath. So inhale, send the hips back. Exhale, send them forward. Come to stillness after that inhale. Exhale, send back the other direction. Inhale forward. Give it 2 more rounds. Beautiful. All right. So now we've got just a little bit of warm up in the low body, but I'm going to lead you through something that we call mountain pose into a forward fold, and then how we're going to rise back up. So let's go ahead and just bring those feet closer together, but they're not touching anymore. Just more of a natural stance. I like to say feet even with the widest part of your hips. So the outside edges of the feet widest widest to the outside edges of the hips. That will come in handy when we do finally talk about down dog as well. So note that outside edge of the hips, even with the outside edges of the feet. Now give yourself just a moment to rock back and forth on your feet. Feel the connection of the bottom of your feet connected to the top of the mat, feeling completely supported here. Notice a little softness in the knees, so we're not locking those. And start to think about your feet as having four corners. So that big bony point right behind the big toe, and then right there at the outside of the pinky toes, and then both sides of the heels, the back of the heels. So come back into stillness and see if you can roll your feet in. There's 2 points, right? And then roll them out, 2 points. Roll them in. This is also great if you stand on your feet all day. And then slowly start to just reconnect 2 feet on the mat. All right, I'm going to turn to the side. I'm going to show you mountain pose. So mountain is just when we come to stand still and completely with our bodies and our breath. So find that connection to your feet. And then I like to ripple my awareness up all the way to the crown of my head. You can see it visually. So here's my feet. Here's my knees. Here's me tucking my tailbone in. Here's my spine rippling up. Here's my heart opening. Shoulder blades come together just a bit. Here's the crown of my head towards the sky and my chin parallel with my shoulders. Palms face forward. Open. Big deep breath. And exhale to release it. And find a soft gaze or close your eyes. And give yourself just a moment to be aware of you in this moment, in this space. Beautiful. Take an inhale and relax everything. So now you know mountain. So mountain is pretty much used in every class. It's just a moment of stillness to really make sure that you're connecting body and breath. I'm going to show you what happens in what we call a sun salutation. So you start in mountain. So we have those hands down. We're going to ripple that awareness up. So let me show you before you do this with me, just so you can see where we're going. All right, mountain pose, rippling up awareness. Take an inhale. You'll rise up, lift the arms and the gaze up. And then exhale, the hands are going to come out into a T beside you. Big bend in the knees as you start to roll the body over, top of the body over towards the legs, towards the floor for a forward fold. There's a big bend in the knees until we warm up the legs, and the belly might even rest on the thighs. So maybe just the fingertips come to the floor. If they don't, guess what? You've got blocks all the way on the tallest setting to have somewhere to let your hands rest if that feels better and more stable in your body. All right, so that's just the forward fold. And then I'm going to show you how we rise back up. So we'll inhale halfway and find a long spine. So basically that same table posture, long spine, crown reaches away. And then exhale, releasing back down towards the floor. And then take an inhale here. And exhale, slow rise up, keeping the tailbone tucked in to protect the low back. Slowly rising back up. And guess where we end up? Rippling right into that mountain. In through the nose, sigh it out through the mouth. And here we are. All right, one thing of note before we keep moving through this together is that every yoga teacher is different. So a lot of yoga teachers will cue when you're down here, you'll exhale, forward fold, and then you'll inhale to rise. I like to always come up on an exhale. I think it keeps me from getting lightheaded. It's the way I was taught, and it's the way that is most comfortable in my body. And so I guess I've kind of developed an idea that to come up on an inhale just doesn't feel right for me. But I want to invite you to always use breath in a way that feels right to you. So if it's different than what I'm cueing, that's fine. All right, let's try some mountains and forward folds together. So let's ripple into our mountain. We'll press the feet into the floor, ripple up, find that length through the spine, softness in the knees. Give yourself an inhale and exhale through the nose. Inhale, arms and gaze rise. Exhale, forward fold, hands come into a T, bend in the knees, slowly letting the upper body just roll on top of the thighs. Head hangs heavy towards the floor. Let's take that inhale halfway, starting to straighten a little through the legs, but still not locked in the back, and reaching the crown of the head away. There's a stretch that shows up through the hamstrings. Take a fresh breath with me. And exhale, forward fold. Take an inhale here, bend the knees. And exhale, keeping that tailbone tucked in, stretch through the low back, but also protecting it. We're going to exhale all the way up. Rippling right back into that mountain. Close the eyes, take an inhale through the nose. Sigh it out through the mouth. Beautiful. Let's do that again. Here we go. Open the eyes, inhale, rise up. Exhale, forward fold. Pause up at the bottom of the exhale. Inhale, rise up. Pause at the top of the breath. Exhale, release back down towards the floor. Inhale here. Exhale, slow rise. Protect that low back. Tailbone stays in. Rolling up in a way that serves your body. If it doesn't look like mine, that's fine. Here's that mountain. Settle in. Give yourself a breath. Relax the knees. Notice if you're leaning forward on your feet, leaning back, leaning to one side or the other. Really try to center that weight right there, equally distributed through what is 8 corners now. Let's do it again. I'll stay facing forward in case that angle helps you more. All right. Inhale, ripple up. Coming into that mountain. Let's take a fresh inhale, arms and gaze rise up. Exhale, forward fold, bend in the knees, slowly folding all the way down to the floor. Release the head down. Shoulders even become heavy. Inhale, rise up. Halfway. Exhale, release. Inhale here. Exhale, slow rise, protecting the low back. We're going to rise all the way into that mountain. Give yourself a breath. Just inviting a moment of peace and stillness. Beautiful. Take an inhale, send the arms and the gaze up. Let those palms come to touch. And then exhale, bring those palms down in front of your heart, bow chin to chest. Breathe a breath. One more. Inhale. And exhale to send that gaze towards me. Beautiful. All right. So another major posture that you'll do in a yoga class that everybody seems to know or has some version of is Warrior 2. So I'm going to show you Warrior 2. So Warrior 2 means one foot, the front leg, the toes are facing towards the top of the mat, and the back foot is open towards the side of your mat. So I'm going to move from the soles of the feet and then move all the way up to the crown of the head. So things to notice here. Right heel will turn in towards the center of the mat. That right heel is in line with my left heel. And then the knee is going to go right over the ankle. So what we want to be aware of here, and this is really for safety reasons, you don't want that knee to come in and you don't want the knee to splay out. Because see, now I don't have those 2 corners connected to the foot or to the floor. Now I'm resting all my weight on the 2 outside corners of my foot, which could seriously injure me if I were to fall over to the left. All right, so knee right over ankle. And then the hips are open. So the right hip is not shining towards the top of my mat. The right hip is open. And when you see me do that, here, I'll turn to the side. When you see me do that, so here it is facing towards my left foot. When I open it, look what happens to my shoulder. Yeah, makes it stay open because the shoulders and the hips, I'm going to have to change sides. So the shoulders and the hips are open, okay? So then the other big thing is that this left leg is pressing into the floor. So all four corners of that left foot are pressing into the mat, okay? Hips are open, shoulders are open. And then we just bring the arms into a T. So when the arms are in a T, then my gaze will always be on that middle finger of the front hand. So what I see a lot of and what I'm guilty of is this. Okay, so I'm lunging forward. So there's more weight in this front leg, but I'm also leaning forward with my upper body. So then pretend there's somebody behind you pulling you back. Shoulders stay over hips. All right, so shake it all out. And then let's try. So we'll do the left foot first. Right heel in towards what we call the midline, in line with that left heel. Right foot, press it into the floor. So really engage through that leg. The kneecap will lift. And then we'll check that this left knee is right over the ankle. It's not in or out. And then what about the hips? So that right hip wants to go towards the top of your mat. I'm not going to lie. Send the shoulder back. Open through the hip. And then really press that right foot into the floor. That right knee's still not locked. All right, so now I have my shoulders over my hips. Bring the thumbs to the collarbones. Take an inhale and then open into a T. That means that the right hand's not back there doing whatever. T. Easy peasy, all right? And then my gaze goes towards that left thumb. Towards that left middle finger. Breathing in and out through the nose, reaching the crown of the head towards the sky. Pressing that right foot into the floor. Beautiful. Inhale. Straighten through this left leg and come to the long edge of your mat. Shake it all out. All right, so let's try it on the opposite side. So we're just going to spin on this right heel. Bend that right knee. Keeping the hips open. Bringing the hands right where the thumbs are to the collarbones, and then sending them out into a T. And then we'll turn that nose towards those right fingertips. So the first thing we did when we came together was we moved our head from right to left. So we start really small, and then we move and add in different things. So just breathe here, 2 breaths. Beautiful. Press into that right foot and then spin to the long edge of your mat. Bring your hands down next to your hips and just let your feet shimmy closer together. Beautiful. So now you know how to do Warrior 2. So the beauty of Warrior 2 is that the lower half of your body, as you move into a few different postures, the legs still look like Warrior 2 legs. So I'm going to show you a couple of those now. So I'm going to find my Warrior 2 legs. My hips are open. Right foot presses into the floor. Right knee doesn't lock. Left knee right over left ankle. And the shoulders forward. Okay? So that right knee's not coming in. And I'll bring my arms into a T. So this is reversed warrior. So the back hand comes down to the back thigh. And the front hand, in this case the left, the palm turns up. So you take an inhale And then as you exhale, you reach that hand up towards the sky. Send the gaze towards that left palm. Sink into the left knee. Get a stretch through that left side body. Nice big inhale. And then just bring those hands back to warrior two. Beautiful. Straighten through that left leg. Let's go over and do it on the right side. So find your warrior two legs. Sinking in, feeling it just a little bit. There's our arms. Everything feels right. Left palm down to that left thigh. Right palm reaches up towards the sky. Inhale here through the nose. And then exhale, keep that breath through the nose. Send that gaze towards that right palm. Sink into that right leg just a little bit deeper. Inhale back to warrior two. Straighten through that right leg. Bring it to the long edge of your mat. Shimmy the legs together. You did it. All right. So the next thing I think we'll do is side angle. Warrior two legs. Warrior two arms. So side angle means that you're going to take the front elbow, so in this case the left, and you're going to bring it down to the left knee. Now what you don't want to do is dump the weight into it. So you're going to press that elbow into the knee, ripple up, and then this right shoulder wants to be in line with the right hip. If that doesn't happen and it sinks forward just a little bit because that's what your body does, fine. But what you don't want is for the whole heart to turn towards the floor. The heart opens to the right, just like the right hip. So this right hand, so you bring the left hand here, and then the inhale comes up and over. So a deeper stretch than reverse warrior, we get in side angle. Reaching the fingertips over, away from your head. Crown reaches away, space in the back of the neck. Inhale, find your warrior two. Open, open, open. Straighten the left leg, come to the long edge of your mat, and we'll spin into warrior two legs on the right. Knee over ankle. Left heel. Left heel in line with right ankle. Hands come into that T. Heart open, hips open. Right elbow down to that right knee. Strong, not sinking in. Inhale, left fingertips reach up and over to the right. Reach the crown of the head away. Your gaze doesn't go through to that hand. Feel that stretch and goodness all through the side body. Inhale, warrior two. Straighten through the right leg. Come to the long edge of your mat. Let the hands release and come back to the center. Beautiful. All right. So now you know table, you know child's, you know warrior two, reverse warrior, and side angle. And so that can get a lot of play in one yoga class. You will use those quite a bit. And the cool thing is that you can sequence them together. So if you go into warrior two, you can go reverse warrior, side angle, reverse warrior, side angle, reverse warrior, side angle. Warrior two. Straighten through the leg, come to the long edge of the mat. Reaching over, doing the right side. Warrior two. Reverse warrior. Side angle. Reverse warrior. Side angle. Reverse warrior. Side angle. Warrior two. Straighten through the right leg. Bring those feet together. All right, so we're going to come down onto our blankets or blocks, pillows, whatever we have, and we're going to come into a seat. Any seat that works for you. Go ahead and close your eyes or have that soft gaze towards the floor. Reconnect to this seat. Notice the breath. Notice the rise and the fall of the heart and the chest. And give yourself one more breath right here. Slowly begin to flutter your eyes back open. Just take a moment to appreciate how you feel right now. Beautiful. So at the end of every yoga class, your teacher will invite you to move into Shavasana or Shavasana. And it's the final resting pose of the class. And the importance of that is we've just moved our bodies, our physical bodies, and we want everything that we just did to have an opportunity to integrate. A lot of times in a class, people will move through nice and flowy, and then when it comes time to lay down at the end, that's actually the most challenging part because being still is difficult and challenging. And so they can move through all of the postures, and maybe that's how you'll be too, or maybe not, all of which are fine. But then you miss the benefit of just lying still and letting everything integrate into your body. So I'm going to invite you to find a position that is comfortable for you. Some people don't like to lie on their backs. If you need to lie on your back and keep the knees bent, you can. But I'll show you a traditional way to lie down at the end of the class. You would come down, extend the legs long, let the feet fall out to either side, and then finding somewhere for the hands to relax. So the arms can just lie down next to the side. You've still got the crown reaching away. There's still space on the back of the neck. You can close your eyes here. Give yourself a big, deep breath in through the nose. Let it go through the mouth. Just keep your awareness on your breath. And let the mat completely take your weight. And slowly start to bring some awareness back into this space. Wiggle your fingers and your toes. Engage your body just enough that you can circle the ankles and the wrists. Take an inhale, reach the arms up over your head. Give yourself a full body stretch, reaching the fingertips, pointing the toes. And then bend one of those knees so that one foot can come to the mat. It doesn't matter which one. You're going to roll over onto your side. Bring those knees up near your belly. Give yourself just another moment here to feel completely supported on your mat. And then whatever knee bent and whatever foot pushed, find that same side hand and let it come down to the floor. Press into the earth and bring yourself back to that comfortable seat. We'll meet here together with our hands together in front of our hearts. So at the end of every yoga class, the teacher will end by possibly sharing a quote, which is what I do, or sharing something and then saying one very sweet word, which is namaste. And namaste simply means that the light that comes from within me sees and honors the light that is within you. And then, if you feel like saying it, you can say namaste back to your teacher. So namaste, friends. Be well.